welcome to the Narrowing Path, Walking the Spiritual Walk. My name is Stephen Irestein. Thank you for joining me again for January 28th of 2023. I am looking forward to today's reading. It's just a reading from James Allen's year-long daily meditation book. It is a 365 meditations of James Allen's writings comprised after he passed away. And so far, it has been a journey, and it has been a lot of great things to reflect upon. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this one has in store for us today. So this is going to be fresh to you, fresh to me. So I will be giving my genuine responses, reactions, observations about the reading, so we can learn together and have this experience together. So here we go. James Allen's January 28th meditation. If today is cold and gloomy, is that a cause for despair? Do we not know that there are warm, bright days ahead? Already the birds are beginning to sing, and the tremulous thrill in their little throats is prophetic of the approaching love of a new spring, and the bounty of a summer that as yet is but a sleeping germ in the womb of this gloomy day. But whose birth is sure, and its full growth certain. No effort is vain. The spring of all your aspirations is near, very near. And the summer of your unselfish deeds will surely come to pass. Self shall depart, and truth shall take its place. The changeless one, the invisible, shall take up his abode in me and cleanse the white robe of the heart invisible. Go to your task with love in your heart, and you will go to it lighthearted and cheerful. All evil is corrective and remedial, and is therefore not permanent. Wow. I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed that one. A common experience for me, or something that's been part of my experience and a common occurrence for me, is I think this is what a lot of people relate to. When I'm in those, what he calls cold and gloomy times, despair can set in for a guy like me, because for some reason I forget that these days end too, that things will get better. And I also I'll forget that there's things I can do to help get through these days. And a lot of the time, the length these last is dependent on my willingness to do something about them. It's not that they won't come or they won't stay for a period of time, but they don't need to stay forever. If they stay forever, quote unquote, it's because I'm letting it. I believe that wholeheartedly. And I forget, and I feel like this will be the rest of my life. And this is, what's the point of doing these things? Those are the times where I'll be tempted to let my disciplines fall off. I'll stop showing up to work as prepared as I am. I'll stop paying attention to what I eat. I'll stop going to the gym, or I'll stop putting in as much effort at the gym. I won't go to as many of the groups or gatherings that I do to help maintain my sobriety. I'll start slacking on different areas of my life, but what that does is it feeds those dark days. It feeds those gloomy times in people's lives. But these winters are essential, just as they are for the seasonal growths and the fertile times and the land and everything up here in where it can get cold up in the States. The winter plays a role and has a effect. And sometimes, and very often, I forgot that the winter ends. I'm talking about in like the actual literal winter that it comes, with the snow and the ice and the cold, and then also the winter seasons of my life. Those times of loss, depression, sadness, of change that's uncomfortable. Whenever those come, like I will forget at some point that they will end. But when it's a good time, I'm so quick to remind myself that this isn't permanent. It's very funny how different my perspective is on these two different emotions, when in reality, both of those things are seasons, and it's a very interesting thing for me to observe, that I know the good times will leave and I think that bad times will stay. But that's not the way it needs to be. That's what this spiritual life and this spiritual journey has really actually taught me, that I can do a lot to make those bad times or those down times quicker. I can't make them go away entirely. I can't, that time will take its time as long as you're doing the work allows things to lift quicker than you'd think. And I can make the good times last longer. The joy and the happiness in my life I can make last longer if I allow it in, and I walk this spiritual life. We forget that there are those warm, bright days ahead, and the birds' little throats are prophetic of the approaching love of a new spring. There's so much growth we get to have, and sometimes the seasons are often used actually as a symbolism for seasons of life. Like when people in the winter it's time for growing, it's time for introspection, it's time for reflection, it's time for that inventory process of what are we doing, where are we going, and then the spring comes and there's this new ambition and new endeavors, and then there's the fruition of those and the energy that comes along with summer and joy and excitement that can come. And then fall is that the other side of that arch, the other side of that bell curve, and then back to winter, and the cycle continues. But it's a cycle that gives us opportunity to have that continuous growth. I like this part where he says, the spring of all your aspirations is near, very near, and the summer of your unselfish deeds will surely come to pass. So what you want and what you aspire to is closer than you think when you walk this life, and then the summer of your unselfish deeds will surely come to pass. When you're the acute culmination of all your work, of all your unselfishness, of your changing of your thoughts, the changing of your perspective, the summer of your unselfish deeds will surely come to pass. The excitement, the beauty, the growth, and the enjoyment of them, will surely come to pass. I love this little part's a poem that he put in there. Self shall depart and truth shall take its place. The changeless one, the indivisible, shall take up his abode in me and cleanse the white robe of the heart invisible. Go to your task with love in your heart, and you will go to it light-hearted and cheerful. When we remove that selfishness, the spiritual truths can really take effect. When we can get out of ourselves far enough to see a different perspective, spirituality can actually take root. The changeless one, the indivisible, shall take up his abode in me and cleanse. The spirit, it's talking about the spirituality. The spirit, when if you identify with the deity, it usually has something to do with that, or the energy of nature, the energy of the universe. However you identify, if you do identify with something of that nature, really gives us the solidification of that perspective. And then go go to your task with love in your heart, and you will go to it lighthearted and cheerful. And I think that applies to every task we do. If you go to it with love, it will be lighthearted and it will be cheerful. And just to wrap this up, that all evil is corrective and remedial, and therefore is not permanent. Evil can be corrected and changed. And evil is almost necessary in some ways. So we see that what it could be or what it is, and then what we want it to be. The depth of your joy usually is dependent on the depth of the pain you've experienced. The most peace and calm and joyful and happy people have usually experienced some trauma and some very deep pain in their life, which has given them the ability to have what they have on the positive spiritual life, that light side of life. And so I do believe all evil is corrective and remedial. It is something to be looked at, examined, corrected, and grown through. Whether it's someone else's evil, whether it's your own evil, or what could be called selfishness and self-centeredness. So just a fantastic reading. These keep getting longer. I apologize. I get pretty wrapped up in them. So I appreciate everyone that's jumping on, and I'm looking forward to the last couple here of January, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Until next time, thanks.